This lesson is going to cover some of the details of recognizing differences in citations and creating citations. To start with, we're going to look at some different citation styles from several different journals. We're going to begin with the International Journal of Wildland Fire. So first we have to find an article from that journal. To do that, we're going to start from the University of Idaho's library webpage. The webpage contains many different search functions. The first one that we'll use is to search through the journals. We're looking for the International Journal of Wildland Fire. And to use this, you'll need to sign in. When you sign in, you gain access to the full text of these documents. And if you're off campus, you'll need to potentially log in to the library system using the long barcode number on your Vandal card. So here's the International Journal of Wildland Fire. And you have to click on this link up here, so full text available at CSIRO journals. As this is working, it's important to remember that when you're trying to find articles, you can always go to the University of Idaho Library Reference Desk, and they are always more than happy to help you find the things you're looking for. So I'm curious about wildland urban interface. So this one looks good. And remember, the main thing I'm looking for here is just to pick up the way that this type of journal article creates its citations. The best way to do that is to locate the PDF. When the PDF opens, the first piece of information you're going to need is an in-text citation. I would like you to try and find a group of citations just so that you can have a reference to how this particular journal cites multiple citations at a time. There we go. Let's copy that. And I'm going to take this back to my document and I'm going to paste this in right here. Now notice that when there's no italicized there, but one thing you should note is that for here, the et al., that's italicized, but since we didn't copy that in, we don't need to worry about adding that format. So the next thing we need to do is locate a full text reference. So the next thing we need to do is to locate the full reference for one of these articles that's used in this paper. We're going to scroll through. Take a second to look at some of the figures that whatever paper you're looking at has created. I'm sure you'll learn something. I'm going to be looking for a reference that's from a journal so that I can more easily compare the differences between different types of journal reference styles. So let's pick this one right here. Copy that in. These numbers at the end are for a reference for that particular journal, so I'm going to not use those. And I'm going to paste this in here. Alright, so let's take a second to look at the differences between the Remote Sensing Journal and International Journal of Wildland Fire. First off, I see that the authors are separated differently. There's no comma, and the first initials of the first name and middle name are separated with periods, and then semicolon up here, and then comma down here. So some of those differences, and then we have the date. For this journal, it's bolded and it's near the bottom, and here it's in parentheses, there's no periods, and for the title, listed pretty normally, and for here, the journal is spelled out completely, not italicized, as opposed to here, where it's shortened and italicized, and then volume number is just plain, comma, and then page numbers. So those are the kinds of things you need to key in on that will make different references style unique. So those are the types of things you'll need to key in on to be able to identify the differences between citation styles from different journals. This will become important when you're asked to use different citation styles in your classes, and you need to figure out what pieces you need to include or not include and how those need to be displayed. Next, we're going to look at referencing styles from the Rangeland Ecology and Management Journal. This time we're going to simply search for that journal using Google. So we're looking for Rangeland Ecology and Management. So we'll look for the journal itself. We can also look for the citation format, but let's see if we can find this and then find some articles relating to rangelands. Let's start with this Science Direct one. This Elsevier, that's not finding results that I was hoping for, so we're going to use Science Direct. So from this web page, let's see if we can get any results from our search. Sometimes these web pages that are searching just for one journal don't do a very good job finding results, so let's see what we can come up with. We want to find information on the sage grouse. So there we've got greater sage grouse and range management from the Rangeland Ecology and Management. So here we have a nice article in Rangeland Ecology and Management about the sage grouse, and let's look at that citation style so we can see the abstract from here. Again, we'll want to download the PDF. So the first thing I'll want to do is locate some in-text citations. I'm going to pick ones that show several different examples. So we've got an et al. Here, which means and others. And then we can see how they're separated. So I'm going to copy all of these in, paste them right here. And now I'll look for a full reference down at the bottom. Again, just take a moment to look at those figures, try and learn something interesting. So I'm going to look for a journal. This one looks like a good candidate here, 2005. Copy this, paste it in right here. All right, so let's again look at some different strategies that are used for these citations. So one, I want to double check and see if any formatting didn't get copied in. Looks like that looks good. So this is italicized, and so we want to make sure that we come over to what we pasted in, we make this italicized since that formatting didn't copy in. So first and middle name are again shortened, and they're after the last name, and then we have those look about the same as the remote sensing journal, separated by a period, and italicized there, separated by a period. So that's the general citation style here. So this is pretty similar to that remote sensing one, except for difference in those dates. I'm going to italicize this as well, because we always italicize scientific names. Now we're going to look for the Wildlife Research Journal. So from some past experience, going to the Journal for Wildlife Research was not a very efficient way to search. We weren't coming up with any results. So instead, I'm going to practice using a search engine that's available through the University of Idaho's webpage. So these journal article search engines are similar to what you might use with Bing or Google. They all have different types of powers of things that they do. So you might just find one that you like in the way that it's set up. Personally, I use the Web of Science. I find that to be pretty easy to use, but all of those are well put together. So the first thing I want to put in here is something about wildlife that I'm curious about. I will put in wolf populations. That's a topic. And I also want to add a field. I want to have this be in wildlife research. And since this isn't a topic, it's going to be a publication name. Now I'll do my search. So here we have some articles that are in the Journal of Wildlife Research. Something that Web of Science does that I usually adjust is, instead of making the publication date from newest to oldest, I like to sort it by relevance. And if you're searching for particular topics, this might really help you find articles that are more related to what you're looking for. So here's a good article about wolf population. So I'm going to click on this one. And through Web of Science, you'll have a little link here that is called Find It, and that's how we find the full text. So this is a problem that we encountered, which is there's some type of broken link between full text and this Web of Science page. So what are we going to do to find this particular article? We know that it's in Wildlife Research, we just need to find it. So what I would do is copy the title of this article, and I would bring that again to all-powerful Google. And paste that in there. And it looks like, here's our article. Let's double check the date, 2013. So this is the article that we're looking for. So again, I'm going to open the PDF. And I'm going to scroll down and look for a group of citations. Here's a nice one. Copy these in and paste them into my location here. And looks like I lost some italics on the in-text citations. Turn this into italics, and this, and this, and I'm just using the keystroke of Control-I to put these into italics, and I actually forgot to change these to italics as well, and so I'll do that. Now I'm going to look for a full reference at the bottom. Let's pick a journal article. Here's a nice one. Copy and paste, and so I'm going to do Control-C, just a quick keystroke for copy, Control-V, oops, Control-Z for undo, Control-V. All right, so some differences here. Again, we have got similar name setups, pretty similar to this Rangeland Ecology and Management Journal. The only difference, let's see, actually no, it should be italicized, yep. So these are pretty much the same. All right, so now not only have you learned how to find different journal articles, which is going to be very handy for you in the future, but you have been able to recognize the differences between different citation strategies. So moving on, we're going to create some citations for different types of sources. Here are some examples of citation setups for the style that we're using for this assignment, which is that of ecology. So something you'll notice about these citation styles is, let's look at a journal here. When we have multiple authors, the initials for first and middle are before the last name on subsequent authors. We have the word "and" here. There's no parentheses, but there are periods on the date. So looking at these differences again is going to be important when you line those up. So let's start with our first source. So creating a citation for the Safford et al. Paper. Since I would like you to create that on your own, I'm going to find a similar article and create a citation for that article. So I'm going to first go to Google Scholar, which is a very handy place to find citations. So I'll type in Google Scholar. And for here, I'm going to search for an article that's also related to fuel treatment effectiveness. So we have the Safford paper, which is the one that you'll be creating a citation for. And I'll be looking at this fire probability, fuel treatment effectiveness. Now for this paper, I would like to read it and find information about it, but to cite it, I have a couple different options. I can either go to an article that's also cited this and use that citation, or this handy button here that's called Cite. So if I click this, it brings up a created citation. Isn't that handy? So I'm going to look for one of these styles that's the closest to the style that I'm using, and it looks like with author, organization, they're all about the same. I might pick APA. It seems to have the first name shortened like ours is. So I'll copy that in, and then I'll go back to my assignment. And here's an example of the citation style so that you can have it close by so you can reference that. So first thing I need to do is see what kind of changes I need to make. It looks like I need to take out a space here, keep the comma. Instead of a symbol for and, I'm going to actually put the word and in, and then I'm going to change this first and middle initial to the beginning, take out the space. So these might seem like pretty minor differences, but following exactly what you've been asked to do for an assignment for citation style is really important and will earn you a lot. So periods there, take out the parentheses. Then we've got normal title, and then we're going to change this to make it not italicized. And it looks like we've got a volume and an issue, but I think in ours we just have the volume. So we're going to make this unitalicized also. Looks like we need to make this a colon, take out this comma, and now that should match pretty well with what we have for citation style. And we need to create an in-text citation. So based on this, I would put this down as Rhodes and Baker, since there are two. If there were more than two, we would do et al. 2008. There's our in-text citation. So if you were to enter this into the quiz, you would copy this and paste it into the quiz question on BB Learn. Next one is creating another citation for a journal article. And so something that we've found with our International Journal article as well is that some journal pages have a quick link for creating a citation because they'd like their articles to be cited as well. So you can click on Export Citation, and here's a citation that you can then work with. You can copy this and paste it in there, and then you can move your items around and create the proper formatting. And I'm going to move on to the next one for now and allow you to do that. Next article is Keeley et al. 2009, Ecological Foundations. So this particular article I chose because it has many authors, and when trying to write in a citation for many authors, it's really important to find it cited by somebody else. So let's again use the power of Google Scholar. Keeley et al. 2009, Ecological Foundations. So here is our citation. So let's try this cite button. So the first thing I see is that these are actually not complete citations. They don't have all of the authors. So if this is the case, not including all of the authors is not really an acceptable option, even if your citation generator didn't include them. So I'm going to need to find this article cited by somebody else. So I'm going to go to the cited by 58 to find one of these articles that cited it. So I've already looked through a couple of them, and they actually they didn't include the full list of authors either. So I think this is one that did. Sometimes finding the proper citation is just a little bit of work. Maybe you can type it in faster, it's just up to you. So again, I'm going to download the PDF so that I can have access to more full references at the bottom. And let's see if I can find this Keeley et al. Paper. So here it is, Keeley and many authors, 2009. So here's what I'll do. I'll copy this in. And I will paste it right here. And now go through and just take the time to move these pieces of information to their proper location. So again, using this as an example up here, looks like we need to move the first initial to the front, and the date looks all right. Other things that might change, this one actually looks pretty close. We've got information about where it was published, and this one has USDA Forest Service General Technical Report. That information is listed down here, so we're going to actually move this around. So USDA Forest Service and General Technical Report, we would move up. Take out the comma. And all the rest of that I think can stay the same. And then you'd want to do your in-text citation, which would be Keeley et al. 2009. Type that in. Alright, so let's look at another GTR and see if we can find where this full reference is found. Since there might not be a citation generator for this, we can first look around and just see if we were to create it on our own. We would just type in the information for the authors, find the date, which is 2010. But looking down here, we see that right below the abstract is a full reference for this source. So we would paste that into here, change things around so it looks like the first thing we need to do is to take away the first names so that we just had W, no space, then J. We'd continue to edit those different formatting things. So we might have to spell out General Technical Report. We would move the USDA Forest Service up before General Technical Report, just like up here. So we would follow this same pattern for citing that. Okay, so let's check out a book. This is a book that you may be required to read at some point, the Sand County Almanac. So when looking around at a book, there's your main title page that's going to have most of the information that you'll need. One thing you'll notice is that there are several dates on the page. The proper date to use is the most recent date of publishing, and that will be 1966 in this instance. So we can piece this together using the example book citation that we have here with the author name, date, title, and publisher. But again, we have the option of seeing if this citation's been created in Google Scholar. Sand County Almanac. I want to make sure that it's the right one, 1966. And so again, we have this Cite button here, and it has the citation created for us that we'll have to adjust a little bit. So pick one of those and paste that in, and again, alter the pieces that are needing to be changed. I'll unitalicize those things. All right. The last ones that we'll do are with web pages. And web pages are especially tricky to find information sometimes, and sometimes the information that's needed for a citation just isn't there. So let's go to borealforest.org. Now this link is going to take you to a specific article on borealforest.org about management and sustainability. So looking around here, trying to find the author of this information. So when you're citing web pages, you'll likely, let's say if you were to search boreal forest management, you would come directly to this page, but it's not the home page for this site. So we might not find information about the author here or about when the content was made. So we know that the article title is World's Boreal Forests, Management and Sustainability. So we would include that as the title. But we need to go back a little bit to find the creating group. So let's go to the home page. So here's where we find the author, and I would use Lakehead University since that seems to be the group that's in charge of the content. And then again, looking around, I would see a modified date down here at the bottom of 2014. So creating a citation, you would have Lakehead University. The date would be 2014. Name of the article, World's Boreal Forest Management and Sustainability. Then you'd want to include the URL where this information can be found and an access date. October 2015. So if anyone was looking for additional information on this topic, they would be able to find it really easily. And as far as in-text citation goes, you would use Lakehead University 2014. It's also appropriate to use acronyms for the in-text citation. So if you used LU, that would be acceptable, or for other acronyms, National Interagency Fire Center, for example, you would put NIFC. So then the last one is just this Forest Service plant database, which is a really common place to find information on plant species. And so this one is for ponderosa pine. It has distribution and occurrence, management considerations, lots of information here. And so I could get any of this information, and it was all provided by this particular source here of Haybeck in 1992. So I would copy that in along with this web citation. So it's put it together pretty well for you. I would copy this whole thing or highlight it all and clear that citation. And again, moving the pieces around that are needed to get it in the right places. So that is how to recognize differences in citations and to change them so that they all fit with the designated standard for citation that you have been presented with. This is just one citation style. You are probably going to be required to use various different citation styles. Make sure that you get clear instructions from your professors on what citation style they would like you to use. And if you have any questions, of course, make sure to ask so that you can get it as correct as possible. This is a process that does go pretty quick once you get practice at it. So go forth and create citations.